What is up? This is Basketball Island, and fellas, a lot has changed in a week. 7 days ago, at this very table, mostly the three of you, a little bit of me, we're
Classic Hein.
You were calling out. Hey, we can roll the tape when I suggested 17-1 Nuggets title. I don't necessarily know if I believe this, but the Nuggets right now are
it's not a lie if you believe it.
The Nuggets right now are 16-1 to win the title. After what we've seen through 2 games, there's nothing logical in my brain that makes me think that they can win this series. But it's been 2 games, and it's like, I don't want to overreact too much with Minnesota. When if Denver takes game 3, I don't think this series is over yet.
It's hard not to overreact.
It looked like the Nuggets.
Did you bet it? Did you bet it?
No, he did not. Anyway,
Then you're a
but
coward.
it was a good idea. So it looked like the Nuggets were done. And now a lot has changed in 3 games, and that's just how crazy the playoffs are. Because after what Jokic did last night, they look to be in the driver's seat, maybe for the title, and definitely for the series.
Yeah, they're the Undertaker meme, or the GIF, or whatever we're going to call it, where he's rising out of the casket. That's literally what the Nuggets are right now, because they're a phoenix rising from the ashes. After game 2, they were toast. They looked toast. Now look at them.
We were talking about Anthony Edwards snatching their soul literally last week, and the absolute opposite has happened, where Jokic has done that exact same thing to Minnesota. Coming off game 5 performance, 40 points, 13 assists, 0 turnovers. 0 turnovers. Like, that kind of like
historic performance. Like,
just the ability to be like, every time down the floor, there's a good chance they're going to score because they're going to get a quality look. And I think that's like very impossible to stop.
One quick note too, against the depoy. I know he kind of owns Gobert, but you're doing that on the depoy.
In fairness to Gobert, like, who can stop him? Like,
No one.
Bam couldn't really do it. AD couldn't do it twice. You know, like, I just think you got to throw doubles at him. They've got to be creative, and he's just going to have to make bad decisions over and over, which I don't think at this juncture is possible.
But they've done a really good job of creating space for Jokic to work in isolation. And if you get him, if he gets you one-on-one, I'm sorry, chop liver, man.
You know, but it's like a question I think you have to ask, and it's real. What we saw in game 2 wasn't fake. It's not like the Nuggets were trying to lose that game. Like, why do you think it was so different? Was it a whistle thing? Was it
Gobert didn't play.
You think, so let's dive into it then. So, like, is that actually what's happening in this series? Because game 2 wasn't fake. That was a full-on beatdown. And we've never seen the Nuggets like that.
So I think
how's the flip?
I think a recipe is something similar to what Minnesota did in game 4, allowing someone else to try and beat you. The problem is that Aaron Gordon beat them, 11 to 12 from the field. So I almost think that's the way you kind of go. You just sell out to KCP, you sell out to Gordon, you say, you guys want to, like, you guys beat us. You take 10 open threes a game and let us just hope and pray that it happens. But just make sure Jokic and Jamal don't. But he's just too smart,
so
man.
Wes flagged this before the series, that looking at the regular season games, Minnesota tries to make Jokic beat you as more of a scorer, and they take away like all those dimes for threes. But you can't guard him one-on-one, and he's beating them single-handedly by himself as a scorer.
Yeah.
And it's just lovely to see him just do, you're going to play me like this? Cool, I can do this. Oh,
take
you're going to do that? I'm going to do the other thing.
Like,
and he's unstoppable no matter what
We
it is.
have to take a moment to appreciate how marvelous that performance one-on-one against Gobert was. Was it 8 for 9? On single coverage against Gobert. And some of these shots that he's hitting, like spinning, pirouette, like left hand, right hand, like you just can't stop that. Like, I think they have to collapse. But like you said, like they have all the role players stepping up right now. If I was Chris Finch, I honestly don't know what the answer is.
Not even Chris Finch, like anyone else.
I mean, there's a reason he won the MVP for the 3rd time in 4 years. I know people were saying maybe, there are other credible candidates, certainly SGA, maybe Luka if you want to throw him in there. But at the end of the day, Jokic is the best player in the league.
He's inevitable.
And he has been for years. So he's a deserved winner, and he went out and proved it.
I think, and Connor, you can cue up the clip right now. Ant pretty much said that after the game yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Ant spoke as if Jokic is Thanos. He's inevitable, and like we've done what we can.
I just laugh. That's all I can do. I mean, I can't be mad because he good, man. I think I said that after game 1 when we won, and game 2. Like, he the MVP, he's the best player in the NBA. And he showed it the last 3 games in a row. And tonight he was special tonight. I got to give him his flowers. It was. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we were supposed to. Yeah, he was that guy tonight.
And like projecting it forward too, like, you know, looking ahead, let's assume, you know, we're taping this after game 5. Let's assume that Denver does get far, does get past Minnesota. Do the Thunder or Mavs have an answer for them?
No chance.
The Celtics have played one clutch game in the playoffs so far.
There's no team left in the playoffs that have an answer for him.
Yeah, and
but
that's
also,
the problem.
The Thunder and the Mavs are probably the 2 teams least equipped to deal with a guy like Jokic. They've nowhere near
But Minnesota, based on those first 2 games, are the team best equipped because they have multiple 7-footers that they can throw at him, and that's still proving futile.
They're the defending champs, and this might almost work in their favor that if they do get over this adversity of Minnesota, that they're probably not going to be fazed by much after this, right? Yep. Staring 0-2 and having to go to Minnesota and win both and coming out on top, I don't think they're going to stress that much about anything else at this point,
I mean,
right?
if it's like a boxing match, they got knocked out twice in the first round, and they're still in the fight. Yep. So, like you can't beat that.
With all that said, it could go 7.
Minnesota looks cooked.
I know, but hey, they're still at home in a must-win. Edwards will go down swinging. Yep. He's shown us that much. Even last night when things looked bad, he was still going hard. So I would take Denver, but it could go 7.
Okay, so let me just ask this question then. If we're going projecting to title, I think we all like Denver and that value over Boston. Like that's where my money's going, is on Denver. And I think Fab had a good flag too. Instead of betting Denver to win the title, just bet Jokic MVP because you're getting better value. And look, Denver, if Denver wins the title and Jokic doesn't win MVP, that's a shot.
Yeah, if they win the title, he's a lock to win Finals MVP.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Not for sure.
And else they're not winning the championship.
And I'm on the fade Boston train. Like, I think any team that comes out the West, I think has a legitimate chance to win the title because Boston, they haven't really been tested.
And they're not going to be tested.
And they're not going to be tested probably. I mean, the Knicks will show heart if they get through.
That's not a real test, though.
The Knicks are depleted. They're walking wounded.
It's unfortunate that we're not seeing them play anyone that good up until potentially the finals, right? It sucks as a neutral because I want to see these guys in an actual battle, and Cleveland is not that. No. Miami without Jimmy is not that.
It's funny that it's Boston versus the field, and we're seeing some of these teams that are succeeding come out, because what I feel, and I'm sure we all agree to this, the players or the teams that are led by players who have heart and grit are the teams that are just coming through. I mean, we go the very boomer take of us to say, like, oh my God, body language means everything. But and that's the reason why people love him. It's not just that he's a good player; he's tough.
Yeah,
he gives it 2-way. Jokic, is he not? Is he 2-way? You can say yes or no, but he is a tough player. The way he competes, and it's the same thing on the other side. Look at the Knicks. Look at how they're coming out and winning that game, right? Yeah. The Knicks. Talent for talent, maybe they might not line up against the other teams, but look at the way Brunson leads his team. All heart with 2 hearts. Heart and heart, right? Yeah. Like that's what's happening in the NBA right now. But, so like a team like Boston, their heart is not being tested.
Yeah.
You have fair claim to worry about that.
And Boston plays with their food. Like
always.
One game where the 3-point variance doesn't go their way, you lose one game against, let's say, the Nuggets in the final, you're probably cooked at that point.
So okay, let's just project.
That's what we're doing.
If the Knicks,
a lot of projecting going on right now.
If the Knicks are coming out of that series against the Pacers, sure, they can take 1 or 2 games just because of heart and effort against Boston. I'm not doubting that.
Tenacity.
But there's no way they're beating Boston over 7.
No, they shouldn't.
No,
I mean, they're depleted. I mean, OG being back would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Even then,
they're obviously still undermanned. The only way out of that series really is just 3-point variance. Just does not go their way for Boston. They really got to find other ways to win the game, and then they don't. But I like the way the Knicks play. They deserve to be in the conference finals. They're the number 2 seed. It's just they're literally 4 rotation players short.
The Knicks are a very fun, the Nova Knicks.
Yeah.
Super fun team, but they're not equipped to deal with Boston because they're not great defensively either.
Yeah. So, which is surprising.
Which is surprising.
Defensive team.
And guess what? Jalen Brunson is going to have Drew Holiday and Derek White in his grill.
Good luck.
So I don't see any advantages the Knicks have.
We think the Knicks are getting through, though. Like, this is probably going to air, this episode will air before Game 6.
Probably going 7.
Really? Like,
probably.
I got Knicks. I think
so,
I got
too.
Knicks in 6. I mean, I just feel like they, let's talk Tyrese Halliburton real quick here.
Let's talk about him.
The disappearing, like, the magician.
The magician,
because he
Tyrese
disappeared
Halliburton.
in Game 5. Not like all of us had his points at 20.5 or his threes at 3.5. Thanks a lot, Tyrese.
Yeah. I mean, like, offensively, he's had a really good few games. 3-point shot he was putting them up. He was shooting.
He swaggingly yelled, "You can't guard me."
Yeah.
Like, and now.
Well, the irony is he can't guard anybody either, which has been my big thing with Tyrese. Like, I thought, like, you just cannot no-show like that. Like, go down swinging, dude. Like, if your team is down 15, 20, whatever, like, you know you're trying to make a last-ditch effort. Can you please put some shots up?
He was afraid to shoot.
Seek your shots. And I thought he did a good job of it in the middle of the series, and then it just kind of fell off a cliff. I don't understand
it. Was odd. It was odd.
You know my problem with him was he didn't look bothered at all that they were losing. It looked like it didn't matter to him. I'm shooting 55% of the field. I'm shooting perfect from the line. Like, I'm good.
It sounds like someone who bet on him.
Yeah, I definitely got caught.
We were all burned. We were all burned by Halliburton.
Game 5.
Betting or not, I think this is what I mean about like superstars leading your team at this stage in the NBA. Like, you need guys who are gonna like will your teammates and lift everybody up. Like, Halliburton literally looked like he didn't care.
Yeah, I'm not a body language expert, but I do know that if you're the alpha of a team, you should have more than 3 shot attempts and a half when your team's down 20.
Yeah.
I've watched basketball long enough to understand that the top guy has to be accountable. He wasn't even looking at the rim at some point.
Yeah.
He had space, and he's turning around and looking for his teammates. I get it. You're an unselfish player. You're a playmaker naturally, but dude, you got to let it fly at some point.
Especially when you look on the other side, Hartenstein is grabbing every single rebound. Like, the Knicks' energy is infectious, and they're just like, they were just checked out.
And I love too when DiVincenzo and Turner got into it a little bit. And after the game, DiVincenzo's like, these guys aren't tough guys.
Yes.
Why are you trying? No one in the league, is fighting, man. No one in the league is fighting. Don't act like that. Just move on. Because the Pacers, they're not those dudes. Yeah, they're just not.
Particularly the one with Miles Turner. What was your vantage point? What's going on there?
They're trying to be tough guys. You know, and that's not their identity. And there was nothing more to that. I just don't, I don't agree with trying to, walk up on somebody that nobody's gonna fight in the NBA. So take the foul, keep it moving. You're not a tough guy.
And I think if we're talking about like schematically, I thought Thibs going small actually really helped your boy Deuce.
Look, Achua can't.
McBride, man,
Achua can't be out there.
McBride.
McBride set like so many screens because the matchup the Knicks are going for, right? They want Brunson on Nembhard. So I think they're doing some stuff here that's like, when you take Precious Achua off the floor, that means less shooting for the Knicks. So you can make the argument Brunson and DiVincenzo are the only guys who can shoot in that starting lineup. Hart kind of his 3-point shot kind of wanes. You put in Deuce, who's had great numbers as a starter in the regular season. That just kind of opens.
He's microwave too. Like if that guy starts going, he's going to keep hitting shots, and you can count on him.
Very nice, subtle way, I think, to open up space for Brunson. The guy goes off for 47. Like, come on, man. I think the Knicks figured something out. Indy will give them a good shot at home. They look like front runners.
They do have that front runner energy, but I'll give them this: that at home they get rolling, right? Yeah. And if they do get rolling, these guys do knock down shots, and it's hard to keep up.
If you think the Knicks are gonna win that game, I think you bet them first quarter. You bet them.
Bet them early. Yeah.
You just kind of take the life
energy
out of
punch in the face.
Yeah, and I think that's the mentality they're gonna have. They have an extra day of rest, which is gonna benefit them, considering they lack rotation players at the moment. So yeah, I'm still going Knicks in 6 based on our.
I mean that was our.
We're all heavy into it.
That was our future.
Great
future
stat
bet.
too. I saw with Brunson. I think first player since LeBron in 2018 to have 5 40-point games in the playoffs.
Yep.
So
amazing.
Credit to Brunson and just what he's doing. But another guy who's looked great and who we started with the MVP, and let's go to the runner-up MVP, and that Shai-Gilgeous Alexander.
Shai coming.
And what impressed me the most the last game, they took everything away. I think he scored literally every bucket was from the mid-range. Nothing from 3, nothing from the restricted area. Yeah. The adjustment he's made to playoffs is what's impressed me the most with Shai's game. And he's just been amazing. And he single-handedly won that game for them in a game that Dallas kind of dominated for 3 quarters.
Oh, they did. And Dallas was going to win that game without Luka and Kyrie really doing anything either. I think Shai, master of the mid-range, hit that one shot from behind the backboard.
Yeah, that was wild.
Obscene shot.
Unbelievable, man. Like, listen, man, we saw this for Team Canada in the summer. We saw it all season. The dude is a monster. We were worried about the grifting for fouls come playoff time. But, yeah, I think he just absolutely took over. And I thought he made some great passes as well. He hit Dort for a 3. He was kind of doing a little bit of everything. And then, man, at Dallas, I don't know what they can do to stop it. They might have to send a double, and then all of a sudden that ball keeps moving in OKC. But, yeah, Shai is an absolute monster. I think can he get past? I guess we're projecting forward again. Can they get past Denver? Can Denver lock him down? Is Aaron Gordon that dude? I don't know. We're projecting.
I'm not writing the Mavs off yet either. But
I think that's going 7.
But it's clear, SGA's outplaying Luka right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Luka looks hobbled though. Luka, and I know he's kind of milking it, but
he missed that free throw.
Fine, if you're
that
hobbled,
was bad. That was brutal.
that doesn't stop you from at the refs 15 times a game and not running back on defense.
Fair point.
I love Luka, man. He's such a joy to watch, but at times it's like, man, like just give it a rest here. Like, why are you spending this much time focusing on things that aren't on the court? But as to SGA, I think there was some trepidation about how he might translate into the playoffs. I think we were more like, we just want to see it once.
Yes.
I don't think we were like, he can't do it. I think we just wanted to see with our very eyes, like, okay, because his game on the surface translates very well, and we're seeing that now.
Well, I mean, one important question is, do you think the whistle has been particularly different in the regular season versus playoffs?
So
in the latter half of the regular season. I think
if you look at Shai's free throw numbers, he's averaging pretty much the exact same. I think he's 8.5 in the regular season, 8.7 free throw attempts in the playoffs. So nothing's really changed there.
Yeah, and so that's the point I'm trying to bring. I think SGA has been able to translate all his success that he's had during the regular season into the playoffs. We were asking this point before we started taping, like, why aren't Canadians more like infatuated by how great that he's playing? And I think it's just the style of play that he has. It's not highlight reel worthy type of plays. He's just silky. He's, kind of zigging, zagging, working his way through, and he's just getting these soft touch shots in. The thing is this, they don't miss. He's constantly hitting them, right? And that's what's the beauty of his game. Some of these shots that you would kind of qualify as medium to high degree difficulty, he's the guy in the league that can hit him.
Do you know why people in Canada don't care? And let's let the audience in on a little secret. Why do you think we're called Basketball Island? Because we're surrounded by hockey everywhere. Bring up the Fab tweet. Fab nailed it with that tweet.
Yeah.
This is why we're Basketball Island. This country is just puck obsessed. That's fine.
Don't poke me, man.
They'll
Don't
get there.
poke me
Nah,
on
let's
this.
hear it.
Don't poke me on this.
Let him off the leash. Let's go.
I've been clamoring for more just content. Like, listen, man, the best thing about our network, a good thing about our network, is that we have a lot of healthy debate about what things should lead SportsCenter, for example, in what order. And it's all semantics at the end of the day, but like I don't think we do a good enough job, quite frankly, of promoting this guy.
I
Jamal
agree.
Murray, and I feel like that's what we do here at Basketball Island. We're gonna do our best to do that. I think he's so good, and I think Canada, the citizens of Canada need to like realize it, and we need to do a better job promoting this dude, because it's quite frankly, it's embarrassing.
Well, I think we also need to give some context here. So we're seeing a guy who led Canada to its first major medal.
Yep.
He was second in MVP. Like, he's on track to be the best Canadian player ever.
All time.
And you could argue he's the best Canadian athlete in the world.
Yep.
It's certainly a debate. Yet people are like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Where does he play? Like, he's not as much of a name as he should be. So whether you want to attribute that to how much he's promoted or this and that, but he should be more of a household name. Like, I gave the comparison. Like, what if he was an NFL quarterback who was Canadian?
He would be
lighting it up in the playoffs.
They'd be naming schools after him
That's
already.
what I'm saying, right? So it doesn't add up in terms of the level he's at with the Canadian public.
I think unfortunately it's going to take, and it's not going to happen this year, but it's going to take a trip to the finals
Of
for a
course.
title for that to kind of, and it kind of.
Too late.
I think I agree with what Wes is saying. Like, if it was a Vince type player who did it with flashiness and then doesn't even get out of the second round versus Shai making a conference finals the way he does it.
Yeah.
It's
Shai's an
style
interesting
over
guy. It's
Yeah.
an interesting guy. And again, it's on us to tell those stories, but it's also on, I think, the media in this country to put these stories out in the limelight too, man. Like, we cannot bury this.
Yeah.
What's happening now is special.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
look,
special.
and I want to show my age in saying this. I don't know if you guys remember how much you take for granted. There were very few Canadian players in the NBA.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
When we were growing
It's
up
like
watching.
Bill Wennington.
Okay.
That was
Growing
it.
up watching.
Yeah,
ball.
Rick
Fox.
Oh, sorry. Wait. How dare we not mention Leo Rounds? Friend of the show. Friend of the show, Leo Rounds. Sorry, Leo.
Leo.
No,
Leo, the OG.
we're talking about the last 2 decades,
But you
man.
know, the point I'm trying to make.
Hey, Leo looks like.
Leo old.
Yeah, but Leo doesn't look old.
No, he doesn't look old.
Leo doesn't look old.
But he old.
There's
You know
a
what? A
there's
man
a
who
level
loves
that
dogs, it'll keep you young. So,
Yes,
so
sir.
credit to Leo and his love.
And something else keeps him young
I
too.
think we take it for granted how many good players are in the NBA that are Canadian right now. Like, that's part of it. But like, don't let that dilute the fact that this guy literally is number 2 in MVP
Mm-hmm.
and very likely going to take Canada on a pretty impressive Olympic run, the first since 2000.
And once we get to the summer, we are gonna ride that Canadian wave at the Olympics, and you'll be hearing a lot of us and about the state of Canadian ball.